Could I start the evening by saying Assalamu alaikum, peace be upon you, and Ramadan Mubarak. I congratulate you on this month of Ramadan. Welcome to the Rotary Club dinner hosted by the Rotary Club of Central Melbourne-Sunrise and the Australian Intercultural Society. My name is Charlie Allen, and I'm pretty sure you've probably worked it out by now, but I work for Victoria Police, and I'm a superintendent attached to the Priority Communities Division. I'd like to start by acknowledgement to country, and I acknowledge the traditional owners of the country upon which we meet this evening, both the Woiwurrung people and the Boonwurrung people of the Kulin Nation. I pay my respects to their elders, both past and present, and I extend that respect to the elders of all the communities and cultures that are represented here this evening. I was at an Iftar dinner last night and sat next to a young man from Sirius College in Keysborough. His name was Emin, and Emin and I were having a conversation, and he told me his story, told me about his parents and how they managed to exit Bosnia during the post-Yugoslavian conflict era. His parents managed to find their way into Germany and eventually resettle in Australia. I told him my story. My grandparents were Estonian. Their families were relieved or dispossessed of their Estonian farmlands during the Stalin era and sent to Siberia. They also managed to escape, find their way into Austria, and eventually resettle in Australia. I guess the reason for telling these stories was the power of sharing those stories last night, how it reinforced the strength of the diversity within our community, but also the commonality. Because really, apart from any of the Aboriginal people who may be in the room, all of the people in the room here today have that commonality of story where we have come to Australia from various modes, various means. There may be some temporal difference of 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 generations, but really we're all immigrants or refugees who have come to this wonderful country in search of a peaceful life. So again, I say to you, Assalamu alaikum, peace be upon you all. And for the Arabic speakers in the room, I apologise for my poor pronunciation. Clearly Arabic is not my mother tongue. So, first of all, I'd like to acknowledge a few people in the room. I'm not quite sure if some of our dignitaries have arrived, but the Honourable Daniel Molino, I think we're expecting. Parliamentary Secretary for Treasury and Finance and State Member for Eastern Victoria, also the Honourable Fiona Patton. I'm not sure if she's arrived as yet. State Member for Northern Metropolitan Melbourne. Ita Puspitasari, sorry Ida if I pronounced your name poorly, Council for Information and Social Cultural Affairs for the Consulate of Indonesia. Mark Duckworth, I haven't seen us yet, he's also expected, and I have the pleasure to meet professionally, regularly with Mark Duckworth, who's the Chief Resilience Officer for this state, the Department of Premier and Cabinet. The District Governor for Rotary District 9800, Julie Mason, also the President of the Rotary Club for Central Melbourne-Sunrise, George Mackey. All the Rotary Club members here this evening, but most importantly, I'd like to acknowledge all the people in the room of Muslim faith. Thank you for inviting us of other faiths or of no faith to this most important month of your faith, Ramadan. So Ramadan Kareem, happy Ramadan. There's 2 quick housekeeping issues. If you need the toilet facilities, my understanding is that they're located on the left across from the elevators. But if you're using the facilities, please press the exit button on the office door, otherwise an alarm will go off and you'll have more guys dressed like this turning up. So, also, if you wish to tweet about tonight's event, please use hashtag Iftar 2015 or at OzInt Society. So, for the welcome, I'd like to call on George Mackey, President of the Rotary Club of Central Melbourne-Sunrise. Please welcome George.
Thanks, Charlie. Just stand there a short time, please, because I would like to say welcome and Ramadan Mubarak, because I actually had that too, and I wanted to make it clear that I hadn't pinched it from your presentation.
Oh, it's there.
You can sit down there, Charlie. Rotary International has many, many things in common with Islam. We're a global organisation and we're driven by 4 tests. First of all, is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? And is it beneficial to all concerned? We have many things in common with Islam. But as Australians, we, the people in this room, have a few challenges to confront. Because I don't know whether you've noticed this, but Islam's been in the media a bit lately. There's a couple of problems here. First of all, many people like me, and many people of Anglo-European descent, don't know socially a Muslim. So the messages that we are fed up about Islam is fed by the media and the internet, and we develop perceptions on that basis. Problem number 2 is that in the work that I've done with some of my Rotary colleagues with the Department of Multicultural Affairs, and looking at the people, the LinkedIn profiles of the people that we deal with, there are many, many Muslims who don't have a social connection with people like me. And your perceptions of me and my culture is often driven by what the media serves up to you and what you find on the internet. These two things collide with a particularly Australian phenomenon called tolerance. We are a tolerant country, but Australia, I think, has a uniquely Australian definition of tolerance, which goes along the lines of, you stay out of my face and I'll stay out of yours. Given the challenges that we have to face at the moment, this is a recipe for tribalisation, it's a recipe for alienation, and it's a recipe ultimately for conflict. It's not sustainable. These challenges demand the very qualities that you as Muslims summon every day during Ramadan. And they are sacrifice, discipline, and patience. Together we can overcome prejudice, but only if we meaningfully engage each other. If we can't engage each other, then the great unwashed out there will not. Secondly, together we can overcome injustice, but only if we act together and not as a collection of ideological tribes pointing fingers at each other. Thank you very, very much for offering this opportunity to meet with you. Have a wonderful Ramadan, and quoting Charlie, Ramadan Kareem.
Thank you, George. Next, I'd like to call on Ahmet Keskin, the Executive Director from the Australian Intercultural Society. Please welcome Ahmet.
Thanks, Charles. And may I say, yes, you both have pronounced it correctly, so it's Ramadan Mubarak. So I'd like to also echo that to all our guests here tonight. Ramadan is a very special time for us Muslims because it is an opportunity for us to showcase what is natural to us, and that is our hospitality, our generosity, and share our food with our fellow human beings. We follow a great tradition from the Islamic teachings of the Prophet Abraham, where it is known that it is reported, and it is well entrenched in our tradition, that he would not break bread unless there was a company next to him. And what we try to engender here with the Ramadan programs is to allow our friends to join us in a meal, because we believe that the meal will have that more specialty and more blessings when it's shared with your fellow human beings, your fellow travellers in this world, and that food becomes the unifier for the ongoing relationship and the sustainable relationship that will hopefully ensue after that interaction. I am new to Melbourne. I came from Sydney, from our sister organisation called the Affinity Intercultural Foundation, and when Ahmet told me that he's had an Iftar dinner with the Rotary Club, I tell you what, I was very, very impressed and somewhat envious of him. So I was very pleased to hear that he was able to reach out to the Rotary Club and that they would reciprocate in kind the favour and be able to join in a dinner table. So it's I'm very honoured and very fortunate to be here in my new role of the Executive Director of the Australian Intercultural Society to be sharing a meal with you and welcoming you on behalf of my fellow executives here, who are some of them are here with us tonight. I encourage you to have a discussion with them, reach out to them, and like what was said earlier, engage in discussion, because there is a lot of issues that the Muslim world is grappling with today. We do know that there is a lot that's happening, particularly internationally, but may I assure you that we as Muslims living in this country, we are your fellow citizen, we are your neighbour, we share the hopes and dreams, this future of the country along with you, and whatever impacts Australia generally also impacts us. And we feel the hurt and the pain that you feel when you hear incidents or when you see incidents played out in our society. It hurts us as much as it hurts you. And we believe it also encourages us to do more, to reach out to more, and to provide opportunities like today, where settings like this will provide that ability, or the opportunity rather, for that interaction, because we do believe that through interaction, through that discussion, we were able to find that there is a common denominator, and those shared values that we all cherish of mutual respect, understanding each other, and acceptance is the fundamental building blocks of this society. And we are looking forward to promoting that further and building and helping build Australia together with you as a fellow citizen, as a fellow neighbour. So on that note, Ramadan Kareem to all of you. I'll also like to just quickly tell you that shortly we'll be showing you a video of a program that we were fortunate enough to co-organise with Sirius College, which tells you a bit more about what we aspire to, what we would like our world to be, where we have students from 19 countries perform at Melbourne exhibition. For those of you who were there, we saw 19 students, up to 40 performers, perform one night through song and dance, but promote global fellowship. And this is the key message that we would like to pass on as Muslims, as AIS, that this world is here for all of us to share, and this world is for all of us equally, and that we should be travelling side by side into the future, helping each other, and try to exhibit those altruistic displays, which has somewhat got lost. And I really applaud what Rotary is doing with that great legacy that they have, with the outreach that they have developed throughout the I don't know if it's a century, but throughout the decades easily, but if not a century or so. Apologies for not doing my homework on it. But it is a well-established organisation, and I commend their work, and I congratulate Julie on her role of being president, and I look forward to continuing the relationship with the Rotary, look for opportunities to further the relationship and try to help our fellow human beings. And on that, I'd like to again welcome you all, and I hope you all have a wonderful evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Ahmet. It's almost time to break the fast. So in mosques around the world, the call to the early evening prayer signals the end of the fast and the beginning of the Iftar dinner. So to make the Arabic call to prayer, or adhan, I'd like to invite Mustafa Kadioglu, who's a teacher from Sirius College. A translation will be shown of the call to prayer. After the call to prayer, a dinner will be served. Sorry? I take that back. After the call to prayer, we'll have a Rotary toast, which is a Rotary tradition. And then dinner will be served. For those that need to pray, there's prayer facilities available at the back of the room. So I've got a call on Mustafa.
Allahu Ekber, Allahu Ekber. Allahu Ekber, Allahu Ekber. Eşhedü en la ilahe illallah. Eşhedü en la ilahe illallah. Eşhedü enne Muhammeden Resulullah. Eşhedü enne Muhammeden الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله أن اللهم رب هذه الدعوة التامة والصلاة القائمة آت سيدنا محمد الوسيلة والفضيلة والدرجة الرفيعة العالية وابعثه مقاما محمودا الذي وعدته إنك لا تخلف الميعاد وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله.
Can I call on George to return to the podium to propose the Rotary toast?
I won't stand between you and dinner for too much longer, okay? It's a very simple process. First of all, put some juice or some water in a glass. Step 2, please join me in a toast to Rotary International.
Thank you. Please enjoy.